what's it called that we got? Board dogs.
Got to switch hats?
Exactly.
You see him log in and you see it check in?
You're ready to go,
I'm
brother.
early.
I put you in.
I
Let
don't
me
know
go
why
back
they
and make
don't
sure.
do that, but Dawn's not here, so.
Yeah, you're on.
Because I don't ever do it either.
We're going to get our money's worth. They're going to get their
You ready?
money's worth.
You ready, Jerry? Good evening, and welcome to City Commission meeting in the City of Kingfisher. We thank all of you for being here tonight, and just want to call this meeting to order, so we will, if you will join me with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Burpo currently is going to lead us in prayer.
Yeah. Let's pray. Father, I just thank you for this day, and I thank you for this city. I pray over this meeting tonight, Lord, I pray that you would lead the decisions of the commissioners and just bless them, bless our city, Lord, and just be with us through all things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call.
Dawn. Jeff Cobalt.
Here.
Kyle Mecklenburg.
Here.
Jeff Whitrock.
Here.
We have a quorum. First item on the agenda is the consent docket. You've seen the claims and the minutes. Is there anything that we need to pull out? If not, do we have a motion?
I have one question.
Okay.
Let me find it here. I want it to be cleared. Oh, the sirens. That was pushing right at the 15,000 mark. That was the software and repair, so we're backed up. And or is that in your report? If that's in your report, I'll hold off.
No, I wish the fire chief was here. It's in the works
Okay,
for the sirens.
but that was to remedy
Yes.
that situation?
Yes, yes. I have not heard back from the commissioners. I am going to be putting out a letter at the end of the month requesting anybody to let us know who doesn't have a telephone or, how we might be able to help them be notified in the future.
In addition to the siren.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Just
Yeah.
remember you have your 2 leases on there for Clayton's Plumbing that has the county barn and the 911 center agreements on the consent docket.
All in the
too.
consent docket?
Yes.
And on the 911 consent agreement, is this, again, I should have reviewed it beforehand, but is it the same?
It's the
as far as
same one,
price?
yes.
And
Yeah,
it's
they
still
did
the
not-
1 year?
No, it did not rise at all.
Okay.
Ken, what's the, you done?
Yep.
What's the full description on the Kingfisher girls softball bathroom? That $47,000. What was that?
Kingfisher.
All it says is Kingfisher girls soft.
Oh,
We had an agreement with the girls softball league. They had matching funds, basically. They had collected a certain amount of money and was holding it in their account to make improvements to the bathrooms, and you guys, or the board at the time consented to match it, and we've had a PO sitting there forever, waiting for them to bring invoices in.
it was more than just the bathrooms, though. It was
Yeah.
fields and lights and a variety of things.
Yeah.
Stands, I think it was up to 60,000.
This is
It was up to 60,000.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have.
Make a motion to approve consent docket.
Second.
I didn't second that.
Did it show up as you?
Oh, okay.
I'll
All right.
change it.
All right, motion carries. First item under item 3 is a presentation by Gary Wilson from the Golf Association. Mr. Wilson. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I have also with me back here our President Bill Loyal, Secretary Derek Wolf. So mainly I could just say we're experiencing another really good year. It's hard to think that it could keep getting better every year as far as numbers. With COVID, you know, we shut down for a little bit and we thought we was going to have a really bad year, and then it became a record. And every year we keep beating that. Our numbers keep going up. This year, as of today, I was talking to Jim last week. First family members, we have 296, which is a big number for a golf course within a community this size. With all the add-ons, which is a spouse or children on the membership, the total's 430. So that's a lot of members, especially in this type of community. And here's what's a really good number. Our junior memberships, every year they go back and forth. We still offer, we go up on our other memberships, but we leave our junior membership the same. If his parents aren't a member, they can come out and join for $220 a year, as long as he's still in college and living at home. So through high school and still in college, up to 3 years out of high school. Then we think they're on their own, so they can do that. But it's really cheap for them, and it's gotten a lot more kids involved in our community doing it. 32 of that number of the 430, or the 296, is senior memberships. And that's a member that's been a member for 10 consecutive years, and has reached the age of 75 by May 1st. So they get a lifetime membership when they do that. And like I say, we have 32, and it's this way every year, and I don't mean this bad, but only 8 of those are active, that play every day. You know, so we continue to do that every year. It's a good deal for them and for us. It's good exposure. It gives them something to look forward to when they reach the age of 75. Looking at our numbers from our last month's meeting, we just had it last week, and I explain this to our board every week. Our green fees show they're down $1,000, but that's because those people are joining, and our membership numbers are up almost $5,000, and it's because we retain them now, and which is what our goal is to do. And then also our cart fees are up. You know, we reduced our number of carts because they're so expensive. And now we've got, our numbers are still up, you know, for the year for cart rentals. Overall, our net income's up $12,000 over this time a year ago. Our board's really good about putting all of our money back into the golf course. You guys know, your guys do a great job. I mean, one thing I tell everybody, I get calls from the city of El Reno. I've known different people on the commission. If your city's not involved, you can't make it. And for years, that's the way it's always been here, always involved. We can't survive without you, and we think we're providing something for the community. We're in the process. I have like 20 some people on a waiting list to get a cart stall, you know, and it's been as high as 30, and we've had some drop out that had a cart stall. And so we're in the process of we're going to construct a new carport barn just like the other one there that will at least hold 20 carts. And that will get most people off of my list. And we think by doing that we're going to get people to join even quicker because they don't have to wait 2 years to get a cart stall.
Do you have the funds for that building?
We do.
Okay.
Yes, we are, and I'm glad you brought that up. I've got that back here. We've been, for the last 6 years, we started this project rebuilding our greens on the front 9 because they were built in the 60s. And they were all native push-up greens. And so every year in hot conditions like we're starting to have now, we would lose the grass on them because there's nothing there underneath. There's no base. And so we're rebuilding all of those and putting the layers in of sand and pea gravel and drainage. So now, like tonight, I can go out there later and I can flood them all for 15 minutes and I don't have to worry about them for a few days. The old greens, you couldn't do that because it just run off the top. It couldn't go down. So what we're doing, we've been doing those greens for the last 6 years, and we lack 2, having those all redone, 2 and 6. And so our goal was, last year we started saving money back at the end of the year. We talked to our accountants, Storm and Hauser, and we put a little bit back so we don't want to pay taxes. And so we'd saved enough, we thought, to build 2 greens this year. But we've decided to build the building instead because it's going to automatically generate revenue for us. You know, as soon as we open it, we're going to get $4,000 of our money back because, you know, they're going to pay to get their cart in there. And so we think that's going to be, we're just retaining that revenue. So then if we do have the funds to build at least 1, we'll do that starting the end of August, 1st of September. But we won't do 2 this year because of that barn. But yes, we're lucky to have our membership that we have. Our board's really good about saving our money back. And a lot of board members help us do the stuff like the pads, stuff like that. So it's going to be an expense, but we'll be able to retain it and keep it going. Really other things, we do about 22 tournaments a year. We just finished our great tournament last Saturday for Santa's Toyland. It was really good. We're more than halfway through them now, so it's nearing the end. I have a couple of big ones coming up that will fill the Holiday Inn up, so but it's already probably full. Anyway, we have our couples coming up. We opened it to our members 2 weeks ago. We opened it to the public today for the rest of it. It was full by noon. And we only usually take 54, but we took 60 teams. And so it's full, so more than full. Really, I have a whole lot. My wife always tells me you talk too much. But if you guys have any questions, I mean, I'd love to, you know, be able to answer them. Or
I told them that your fiscal year is January 1 to December 31st. And so I shared with them the report you gave me back in January.
Yes.
I've seen that. Maybe you could talk to them a little bit about what the cost is to do a green, redo a
okay,
green.
yeah. And you saying that, yeah, our fiscal year is that for our accounting purposes. We always have our memberships due May 1st. And the reason we do that, because back in the day we had them due January 1st, and nobody played golf till May, so they didn't want to pay. And so, say we had payments coming up, you know, and Anita could tell you back in the day, we'd call up and say, hey, can we skip paying the city this month? Because, you know, we don't have a revenue yet, nobody's paid their membership. So since we moved it to May, we don't have that problem. They pay because when they come out, they either pay a green fee or they pay their membership. And so it helps us a lot. But building a green,
Redoing it, I guess.
redoing a green, well, basically those greens were almost starting from scratch. On number 8 we moved the green, we left the old green up. That was one of the first ones we did, and we moved it 55 yards further back so we could leave that green open while we were doing it. But, and that one cost a little more because of all the dirt work we had to do. And I will say most of that dirt work was donated by Ron Townsend, Sean Scamahorn, Bob Polenback in the day. They helped us, we got the dirt, and they shaped most of it while we were building that. And then our greens builder come out and actually made the green. But to do a green now, if it's already existing, they'd go in there and they just basically till it up and core it out. And if we want to change the shape, that's the time we do it. And he builds that green every layer. He builds it up from starting with the dirt. He gets the pad like we want it. He and I'll go out there and look at it and see where the break is, and he'll smooth it out and get it like he wants it, and then they'll put a layer of pea gravel in. He'll smooth it again. I mean, it's a process. We use pea gravel, peat moss, and sand, and it's amazing. This guy does a really good job. He's built 7 of them now let's see. Yeah, 7 of them for us now. And it basically cost, depends on the size of the green, but like our green we built last year, number 1, was already almost 5,000 square feet. And now it is 5,000 square feet, and that green cost $45,000. And I know that's a lot of money, but the guy that built our putting green at our new clubhouse. When we opened our clubhouse, we went to him first, and it was going to be about 75 to 90. And so this guy, I mean, I've gotten to know him. His kids live in Cashion, and they just do a really good job, and they do it like we want it. Like I said, it's an expense, but we think we're not having to redo them now for a long, long time. And if we get a burn spot, you've got a root system there now that it comes back pretty quick. It really, they maintain very well. So the grass is a lot more healthier grass now. It's a different variety that, excuse me, it's more hardy, and it's a better surface than our old greens. So
The other thing that Gary and I talked about, and I was just curious if you're able to, what's the makeup of your membership? Is it 50% Kingfisher, 50% outside the city?
We talked about that the other day. Used to, our revenues were about 50-50. Out-of-town green fees players, or even in-town green fee players, and memberships. Today, that number is more like 70-30, because we're getting, I mean, we've got people from Edmond, Piedmont, people that live on the golf course at Surrey Hills and El Reno are members at our golf course and not their golf course, because it's better. And that's because our guys do a great job. I mean, we're out there working on number 13 green today, because, it's got a little fungus, which is a normal deal in the rain, but you got to maintain them. And so we feel like it's helping us to get those people as members. But yes, used to it was 50-50, but that number now, like if I'm looking today, I was looking, and the revenues for green fees were about a third of the revenues for memberships, as far as what we've taken in so far. Now, that number will change as we go along, because all the memberships are paid now, and so for the rest of the year, we'll get a lot of green fee play, it'll kind of go the other way, so that'll change a little bit. But it's really, we have a really good mixture of membership and green fee players. At any one time on Saturday and Sunday, if you don't have a tee time and book it by Wednesday or Thursday, you can't get on and get a cart. And people say, well, you need more carts. Well, and where I disagree is, I got 200 member carts, and they're all out there with my rental carts at the same time. You can't get more people out there. I mean, there's a group on every hole on Saturdays and Sundays, and we think that's a good problem to have. So.
Has the green fee price
Yes.
gone along?
Yes, we do that every year, Billy.
I'd hate to be the one to say
yes,
that.
We probably 6-7 years ago, we started going up every year. Rather than saying, oh my gosh, we gotta go up $100.
Yeah.
We just incrementally, like a little step, and that way it just keeps going, and nobody notices it, because, if I say it's $10 more, it's no big deal to you. If I say it's $150 more,
on your membership,
you have a heart attack.
and on the green fee. So we go up on the membership like that. We go up either $1 or whatever on the green fee or the card to try to, because we don't want our members paying more than an out of towner. But people come here like this last weekend. They're like, is that a senior rate? No, our rates are all the same. We don't do, it's all, and he's like, well, they came here, him and his wife played for $72, and it was $59 a piece at Weatherford and El Reno, and so we try to check. I always call around and kind of check prices and see where they're at. Every year I'll report to them around October, November, and we discuss what our rates are going to go to in January. That's when we try to change the green fee rate, and then our memberships, of course, will change, for the next year at that time. But we do make sure that that's all the same. The only thing we really haven't changed, and the same thing I said, was our junior membership and our junior green fee. We went up on all green fees, but if you're 15 or under and your parents don't have a membership and you want to play golf and they don't want to buy you a junior membership, you can come out and play for $6 walking.
Good.
You can't do that anywhere else. And so we think we're getting a lot more kids involved. So,
It's good to do.
when you say,
Oh,
we've had a
absolutely.
lot of kids. And it's good to see because we need someone to take care of the golf course when we're older.
It's the future, right?
Yeah, but, I mean, you guys, if you have, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but if you have any other questions, I'd be glad to take them. We appreciate you guys' support. Our relationship's always been really good with the city. Like I said, other courses just don't have that. And so,
Any other questions?
we're lucky.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Gary.
Item B is a presentation by Savannah Story on the Aquatic Center.
Jerry, give her that. I gave the commissioners all of that
Okay.
for the last 4 years.
Well, I'm Savannah Story, I'm the Kingfisher Pool Director. So, which one do you have here?
Revenues and expenses.
All right, so you did the total,
Yeah.
with the tax, or I
Yeah,
guess the fees still in there.
what we collected.
So for 2025, we closed out with the 81,544. And as you can see in the year before, it was the 52,083. So we did a whole lot better. So
Going in the right direction.
I'm proud of myself on that one. And then I counted our memberships. So we have 80 active memberships right now. That's between your seniors, your individual, and your family memberships. We have about 35 regular swimmers that come do our water walking, lap swim, water aerobics in the morning, which all of those that do come in the morning are part of your active memberships that come. In June, we had 425 Kingfisher residents use the facility. May was 315. And then our marketing, I know that was something you guys wanted us to look into. We've teamed up with the All About Kingfisher. It's been really good working with Maitland. We went to school together and stuff, so it was a good relationship to start. She's helping me out with we're doing a fundraiser this Friday for the non-slip mats for the pool. Want to finish out the pool deck with that. Obviously, have you guys been in there lately? It gets pretty slippery when it gets wet. So we want to try to finish that out, kind of prevent less falls. And then birthday parties. Jim wanted me to say about how many birthday parties we do in a month, and right now I'm averaging between 25 to 30 for the month. So that's a big, busy time for us. That's it.
As I looked at their expenditures over the last 4 years, the big, well, last year, you know, we invested some money when Richard was there. But if you compare 22, 23 versus 25, we have a maintenance agreement now. We did not have a maintenance agreement before, where if something, there's an issue with one of the pumps or the heaters or anything, they come out and service them. And when you're out here all by yourself, you know, those service calls are portal to portal, so they were charging us from Oklahoma City to here until they got back. And so now we have a maintenance agreement. And I think it's been a good investment for the maintenance agreement. We carried it over again this year, but that's the biggest increase in expenditures.
Anything else?
Any questions?
I don't.
Savannah, you heard the golf is 70-30. Are we 50-50? I know we kind of keep a closer tab on our census.
I feel like between May and June, we had more Kingfisher residents than
Oh.
outsiders. But July, I think, is gonna be kind of 50-50.
Okay.
Because we've had a lot more outside birthday parties coming in.
Yeah.
But like during the week, we've had more Kingfisher residents coming in. So I think it's gonna be a 50-50.
Yeah. You had a great event on the 4th of July. We opened it up,
Yeah.
free swims, trying to encourage people to come enjoy the pool, and you had a full house.
We did. We had 130 people in the pool at one point. So
Wow.
it was a packed house.
Yeah.
I'm curious, so you've increased your revenues about 30%. It looks like your expenditures have gone up a little bit. Is most of that really just manning the pool? Or what are your expenditures outside of the maintenance agreement? What makes up?
No,
Yeah.
some of that was before I fully took over. That was when Richard was here, because
Yeah.
they did do the diving boards, the pool grading.
I assumed that was part of that
Chemicals.
560,000 last year, but I didn't know what really made up the difference. I mean, is it a $50,000 increase in your maintenance?
It was 48,000, that's what we
Okay.
pay, yeah.
Okay.
Lifeguards are, you know, we raised what we were paying them. So you've got salaries in there, but for the most part, it was that $48,000 we paid for contract services. And I don't think the previous director was as in tune with maintenance, trying to keep the pool up to grade. And Richard definitely took it to a new level, and Savannah has kept it at that same level.
Well, we had to. I mean, part of the deal is that we continue to see is we don't maintain things very well, or we
Yeah.
haven't over the course of time, just because, for whatever reason. But, I mean, you know, as we progress here, and I'll say this for Commissioner Mecklenburg, because, and I won't speak for you, but, you know, we want to continue to see those revenues drive up and drive our costs down. I mean, it just makes, for this to be sustainable, we're going to have to continue to do that, so.
One of the things that I started with Richard and Savannah has carried it on, the pool, the lifeguards are responsible for the 6 bathrooms at Oklahoma Park. Our park guys have got enough to cut grass and keep the other bathrooms in somewhat of a clean fashion. And I stress with Richard and Savannah that, hey, there's nothing wrong with the lifeguards going over, cleaning them, making sure the cans are empty. We have a lot of baseball games, and they take a beating. Is it May or June when they have
About May.
30 games in 30
Yeah.
days or something?
Red Dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which there really weren't very many here this time, I don't think. It never got super packed.
I remember that when Richard was there. I mean, his hair was standing on end.
During the school year, it was a lot of baseball going on, but
Yeah.
the 30 games,
Yeah.
I don't think they really did many here.
Yeah.
But in the mornings is whenever I let the lifeguards take care of the pool bathrooms and our restrooms, and I maintain the park ones to help the guys out.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Savannah.
Thanks, Savannah.
Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is item C. It's a discussion and possible action to accept the resignation, thank you guys, of City Commissioner Debbie Burpo.
Amy submitted her letter of resignation. I tried like the devil to convince her to let us annex her into the city. I know she's been married 52 years, and it was a family decision, and they felt comfortable being surrounded by the city. I told her we'd still protect her in case of a fire, police issues, mosquitoes, but for the time being, they're going to remain an island surrounded by the city. They've got a 5-acre parcel that was Tim, I guess where he was born and raised, and he wants to keep the heritage of his parents before him. Anyway, it's with regret. Debbie comes forward, and grateful that she came tonight, but her letter of resignation, yeah.
So can you explain how that works with her being, why she, with not being annexed in the city, to be a commissioner, you have to reside.
Oh,
within
yeah,
the
you have
city-
to reside in the
reside
city.
within the city
Yeah,
limits
yeah.
of the municipality, and therefore, at this point, you will no longer be officially inside the city limits as a resident, and therefore, you wouldn't qualify to be able to be a commissioner. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the reason. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just think it's important for the community to understand the legality of that.
That's the only reason for
Yeah.
my resignation, and as Jim and I talked, it was one of the hardest decisions I've made. I have thoroughly enjoyed serving.
Right.
Did not want to give it up, but wanted to honor my husband, so.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
So, but that is it.
And then from a legal perspective, you weren't gonna be able to be a commissioner.
Right. She sold her existing home in the city to her daughter, and she's just moving to a small 5-acre island surrounded by the city of Kingfisher, and eventually we're gonna get you in.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept her resignation?
Regrettably, I will make a motion to accept the resignation.
Okay,
And second.
And so, Jim, what's the protocol from this point moving forward?
I would recommend to you
that's our
guys,
next item.
Oh, is it? Oh, I apologize. Okay.
So that is approved, we accepted it. Thank you for your service, Debbie, and all that you did while you were here. So the next item is a discussion and possible action to fill the commissioner seat vacated by Commissioner Burpo per section 5.4 of the city charter.
and I would recommend the same process we've used in the last 2 years I've been here. We'll notify the newspaper, they've been notified, the public's being notified tonight. And I think you should accept letters of interest, have people submit letters of interest, and we will put it on the agenda August 11th. Invite the people that submit letters of interest to come, and you have an opportunity to either interview them or have them give a 1-minute or 2-minute speech as to why they have a desire to serve. I think it's important that whoever you select, that they realize they have to run for re-election in April of next
February,
year.
Oh, you got to file February, the elections in April?
February,
Yeah.
elections in April.
But I would recommend each of you, if you know someone that has a civic mind and wants to serve, that they submit a letter of interest. I would put a cutoff. Our next commission meeting will be August 11th, and I would say have everybody by 5 o'clock on August 7th submit letters of interest, and we will put them in your packets and invite them to come on August 11th for hope make a decision.
Yep, same as what we've done. Okay, any other discussion on that? Moving on to item E is discussion and possible action to approve ordinance 2025-006, ordinance vacating portions of the alleys and streets located in the city of Kingfisher in and around blocks 48, 66, 71 of the city of Kingfisher. I think you've seen those attachments in your packet here. Anything, do you want to discuss that a little bit?
Fill you in what's going
Is it
on.
Kroll?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good.
Bill Kroll, one of the owners of Kroll Inc. We're family run. I'm from Iowa actually, but as years gone by, my dad started the company in '68. We slowly expanded, and now we showed up in Oklahoma. And we purchased a bowling box last year, and on purchasing it, we realized that he owned a plant in Hennessy and Kingfisher. They both need modernizing, which is pretty normal. So our intention is to build a concrete plant there on the existing site. And as my letter stated, I don't know if everybody got it, but
They did.
portions of the street, I really can't build it there unless I want to get all my ducks in a row before I do anything. I can't build a new plant. I can show you what the plant looks like if you want to pass it around. I mean, this is what I'm going to roughly put in. It's it'll be quite nice.
Enclosed.
It'll basically enclose the plant. We'll have a nice break room, new bathrooms, and part of it, we build a very, very nice plant for the simple reason that it's, as difficult it is to find truck drivers, I mean, they don't have to work in a very poor facility for anything. Really. They can, so we try to make it as nice as we can. I think we do good neighbors. It's up to you guys.
And Bill, you mentioned it's a family-owned business.
Yes, sir.
Did I remember, you tell me you guys own about 100
Yes, sir.
cement plants
Yeah.
in several different states?
Many different states.
Yeah.
What I do, I go around and I like modernizing stuff. I'm just not
So you're
fit
willing,
enough to run concrete trucks and stuff.
yeah, but you're making an investment in Kingfisher.
Very much so.
Yeah.
If you want to know how much it's going to cost, it's roughly $2 million. And we've done a lot of them. We built them like in we're gonna build Kingfisher first, and we purchased the plant in Woodward, Oklahoma. We gotta build one there. Built one in Liberal, Kansas, Garden City, Kansas, Guyman, Oklahoma. Many different spots.
Going rural.
We're rural people.
Yeah.
We stay away from big towns. We like small plants. We like small communities. I mean, this is not that small, but this is a very, very nice community. We're very happy to be here.
Does this plant increase your size, concrete trucks?
The trucks stay the same size, but what we'll have is more storage. It'll be much quicker than the existing plant, and
More yards produced is what I'm trying to get at.
more yards per hour produced. This will put out, the current one puts out about, maybe 80. This will probably do 200. But the turnaround time is much quicker. And people are, I don't know, it's a competitive advantage just to have as quick plant as possible. And it would be all certified for DOT work, and it'd be very easy to run. You have all computerized batching. We try to make them as modern as we possibly can. Our aggregates would increase, or the admix we can put in it would be substantially more. Just the process would be much cleaner.
So Jim, us to propose, this is just annexing in the roads, getting rid of the roads basically on the map? Is that what we're
Right.
doing?
Jared can better explain it. We had quite a discussion about this. Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, no, there's a couple of good points that go along with that. I think, first of all, and so Bill sees this too, when we have talked before, we've talked about exactly what all we need to get closed off to make it usable for him. Looking at the map, just Brittany, if you'll leave it there where all the red's showing, so
Okay,
I can
perfect.
make sure perfect. That lot 12 and block 66, kind of there at the top of the screen, right below the big block of red. Right now, it's privately owned. I think Bill was going to try to work on figuring some things out
Yeah.
there, but since it still is, if you look at his original drawings, he had kind of taken that rest of that alley up there. I chose not to do that because I wanted to make sure we preserved access to it in case something happened there. And did the same thing down there on Sykes for the alley there, more for his benefit there, because that will allow him to come down the rest of Sykes and not get cut off by the property owners. Because what's going to happen when we close these streets is they will actually revert to the adjacent landowners. So public won't have access to those anymore. The owner of lot 6 and block 66 will get half of Sykes Street there. The owner of block 1 and lot 1 and block 71 will get the other half of that street, if we were to close that part again. So that's why I didn't want to close that, so we still have the access for his vehicles to get in there. And then I went ahead and added that little portion of the alley in block 77 below block 3 that he doesn't need it for him, but if we've got the rest of the alleys gone, why do we need that? The second part of that goes along with it is that just do understand that by doing this, we are intentionally inviting a lawsuit. There's a friendly lawsuit that has to come from this, because once we close the streets, we forever retain the right to reopen them unless this lawsuit happens. So they'll file a case. It's a very friendly case. We've been through them a couple of times before, that just basically says, hey, the city has closed these streets. They don't intend to use them anymore. We want to cut off that right to reopen them. That way, when he puts his new $2 million building right in the middle of one of the streets, we can't come back and say, nope, we want to open it again. But then it also, through that process, maintains any infrastructure that's there in the way of power lines or gas lines or telephone lines or anything like that. So Pioneer will be a part of that. ONG would be a part of that to make sure that their stuff that's currently there is still protected.
If
But
that has to be moved, whose dime is that on?
that would be
It goes to him?
on him.
Okay.
But hopefully, I mean, there's probably not going to be a lot in there because it's been used for a concrete plant for a really long time. But that's going to be one that, as surveys are done and all of that, they'll figure that out. But yeah, that's not our dime. Everything that's there right now has the right to stay there. So, if ONG didn't want to move a gas line, it just doesn't get moved. But again, that's part of an investigation later.
Okay. So really the only contingency is,
Let me interrupt
what,
real
12?
quickly. I gave you guys a handout, and the first page has our utilities in it, and a little schematic on top explaining what colors represent what utilities. And as far as everyone was concerned that I spoke with, there's really no issues there. of anything having to be moved, except for one telephone pole,
Yeah.
which may or may not need
Basically,
to stay.
everything I have to take care of. The city's pretty much.
So is this all contingent on that lot 12 being bought?
No. It's, the way it's set up here is, because, I mean, we really don't need that extra part of Jackson Street because it dead ends right into the highway. The city actually owns that lot 7 in block 48. So, there's, other than that one house being there, there's no So what happens reason.
is lot 12 doesn't want to sell, and
Then
there's a bad relationship between them and the concrete plant, and now that person doesn't have access to their home.
That's why we cut out that little chunk of the alley there. You see that the alley up in Jackson Avenue isn't taken up in the middle of the street by the red. That means the lot 12 owner will get to the center of the street up there. The alley itself remains open, so the street stays open to the edge of that lot. So they're still gonna have access the way we cut it out. Had we dropped that alley out, arguably they may not. So this protects that. Hopefully it ends up being a non-issue.
Right.
But
There's no
they'll
structure
still have
on
that
12 though,
access.
is there?
No, it's
Correct.
just,
Okay,
Vacant land.
okay.
there's a bunch of basically rubble there, but we already contracted people to crunch up all the rubble. We get rid of that stuff. We got rid of all the old trucks and equipment back there. That needed to go. Done some improvements, but this is kind of like what we're all pushing towards.
How many trucks will you have, commercial trucks will you have?
About 5.
5 of them?
We can
Okay.
bring more in. The
Right.
small, when you run a small rural plants, we have,
Okay.
we pull them in from Woodward. Or if Woodward needs trucks, we'll take them from here to Woodward.
Okay.
And eventually we'll get Hennessy running, we'll have probably 2 there. And we move them back and forth all the time.
Sure. And what's the timeline, and once everything it's
If
approved?
it's approved, we'll
if it's
probably
approved-
start this winter with some grading if possible. I didn't leave any real timeline on it.
Okay.
As far as the construction of the plant goes, we're finishing one up now. The next plant that goes in will be for Kingfisher. One after that will be food.
The concern I have with that is unless you've already worked this out, Jared, as far as, what I don't want is to change all the ownerships of this stuff and then they wait 5 years to
I
do the
see.
plant. We need to have a timeline of if the construction is not done by a certain time. And I'm just saying this off the cuff here, I don't know, I haven't thought through this, but there needs to be some timelines in there. And if they don't finish their project or do whatever, we can revert these back into, city access stuff.
I mean, I think a lot of that would be timed on that foreclosing the right to reopen case, that if we've got a concern at that point that not enough has happened, we might want to object to that where we normally wouldn't. And that would kind of be that way to claw that back to say, hey, we don't want to lose that if X, Y, and Z hasn't happened.
Not that that's your intent
Right.
by any means.
No,
I don't
I
want
know
to suggest it's your
exactly
intent,
what
but
you're
if the
saying.
economy
Basically,
crashes in the next 6 months or
Everything
something
goes all
happens
to
with your
pot.
company or whatever, and this project doesn't take off or get done in a reasonable amount of time, I don't want you guys to own all that access, and
Absolutely.
it wasn't intended for that. So I'm asking you to protect us in the contract, so we're being able to do that.
You'll definitely get a letter from me when we have a lawsuit filed, like you always would, and it would be at that point that you would want to say, hey, is this progressing the way we want it to?
Right. Okay.
And then we can have those conversations.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion.
Motion to approve item E.
Second. Welcome to town.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Nice investment.
Yeah.
We can work together on that.
That motion carries. We'll move on to item F. Is the discussion possible recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Committee to grant a conditional use permit for exemption on metal building ordinance 1073 for Dennis Baker. Hello.
Hi. So we live at 11th and Starlight Vista, sorry, and directly across the street east of the water tower on the backside of Meeker Addition, we're proposing to construct a 40 by 60 shop on the rear of our property.
Thank you.
And are asking for a conditional use permit to do that. I did some research through Google Mapping, and from the construction side of, proposed construction side of my shop, there are 17 other shops that do not meet the ordinance. It'd be argued that 15 of them were before the ordinance, but 2 of them have been since the ordinance and were granted a conditional use by the Board of Commissioners. The late Roger Phillips on 13th Street, and most recently Mr. Kenneth Jung. We're on the back of Meeker Addition where we're not as visible, and we've already put money down to construct a 6-foot stockade fence around the entire perimeter of the rear of our house, which will enclose the shop. It'll have a drive connecting into La Vista.
Very good. Any questions in regards to, for Mr. Baker? And it was recommended to approve by planning and zoning.
Yes,
Okay.
was recommended.
Yeah, I'll just make a comment, and Chief, this is not to you specifically or for your situation, but I've kind of made it known as my position on this.
I know.
Unless there is very specific extenuating circumstances as to why we should be going away from this ordinance, if we have an ordinance in place, I think that we ought to honor it, and we ought to do it. And if we continue to have these conditional use permits come to us and we just go ahead and issue them, let's get rid of the ordinance. And so at this point, my philosophy on this is I'm not going to approve any of it in my perspective unless there's very specific reasons as to why. Just want to put that out there, and this is not specific to you, but this has been my opinion since for quite some time.
So it was explained to us that that's the reason for the variance allowance, is that you could actually have a reason for that, and we feel like we do because of the fence. We would be the only building out there that has a fence, so you would not be able to see the structure. And so the other thing is, you're looking at cost to the person building that, and that's significant. We are putting a lot of money into building that fence to make sure to cover that up, which would be a moot point if we had to put a surface on it, because you're not going to see it.
Right.
So
Completely understand. I completely understand it, but we've also been in a position where people have told us that they're going to put a fence up, and it's not going to be a big deal, and then they turn around and we issue the permit and they don't put the fence up, and it's just unfortunately it's gone that way. And I'm not saying you guys would, because I know you guys
will be putting fence
you guys
up, and I
would
can
do
show
it
you
good.
that. Yeah, and we would. Like I told the planning and zoning, if I was trying to do this in any other part of Kingfisher, I wouldn't even be trying to get away with that.
Right.
But I live in an area that, like I said, I can show you that there are 17 other buildings less than 2,000 feet from my property that don't meet that ordinance.
Right.
So I'm just going to be one more, except with the condition that mine will be enclosed and not highly visible to traffic, such as the 2 that were approved on 13th Street.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, I assume planning and zoning recommended approval based upon what he just said, is that Meeker Addition has a number of those, and they have been built, and a number of them have been approved here recently, and I think Kyle disagreed with that as well, but it is kind of the lay of the land. Part of the reason for that ordinance is to ensure that that we follow the planning and zoning as within the core town. Some of that Meeker Addition has been out there for a long time, and so any other questions or comments?
I'm going to go with the motion of approval and taking P&Z's recommendation. I'm going to pass the buck to them next time to deal with this.
Yeah.
And if we need to do an ordinance,
We've tried. I mean,
Yeah.
So can I?
Please.
So at planning and zoning, there was a lot of talk on the ordinance after we had done the 2, you're getting ready to hear another one. I have suggested to them that we meet with you all or have some type of discussion with you all, because they are having a struggle with the ordinance too.
For sure.
I know when we passed it a few years ago, I can't remember who was on the board when we
I don't
passed
think
it.
any of
I don't
us
think
were.
any of you all were, was the problem, the reason why it was approved was because there was metal buildings being built in the city and they were not being constructed like, they weren't being said to be what they were being supposed to be constructed, I guess is what happened. And so that's why that ordinance was put into place. They also did it so that you could have a conditional use permit, I think for the outside of town that were like outside, you know, like the Meeker Edition and all of them. So you could put the conditional use permit with the ordinance so that that would be different. They could build something other than the ordinance because they are outside of town. It was really meant for town and more commercial buildings is what it was more intended
No, it's
for.
it's hard to say, you live in this part of the town, so we're gonna
And I agree
enforce
with
this.
that.
Or we're not gonna enforce this, and you live in this part of the town, so
Right.
everybody is within the city limits.
Right, but I think that's-
Should be susceptible to the same
Right.
degree of
And that's
policies.
how, and that's kind of how the P and Z is taking it too. They're having a hard time with that ordinance.
Mhm.
So I think that's something that you all need, I mean, I think you all need to collaborate with planning and zoning too on that ordinance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Agree.
I'm just letting you know that was.
The whole
a huge
reason for
concern.
planning and zoning, though, is to provide some information as to where things are built and what they
Right.
look like and some of those things. And again, the Meeker
And
Edition.
protect property value.
It is, yeah,
You
absolutely.
know.
And
Of
Yeah, and I
neighborhoods
think
and-
one of their concerns too, also with this, and Jared, you can chime in on this one, was we were told before that when they do the conditional use permit, they could add what in there, like if they were building a fence and they had so many days to do it, and if they wanted to do something different, like a different, you know, something different on the outside or whatever, they were told at one time they could add that in the conditional use permit to send that recommendation to you all. And I think they were confused about that too, so that's something that we might be able to talk to them about too,
Yeah.
when we do the planning and zoning with them. So I think, Jared, that's something else that we need to bring up too, because I thought that too, that when we did this, that we told them that if they did do a conditional use permit, they were allowed to say, okay, if you're gonna put a fence up, you have so long to put the fence up, and if you're gonna put something else up, you had so long. So I feel like they kinda got lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's kinda gotten lost in there, you guys, on that. So that's something we probably need to, bring back to planning and zoning and us too. So just to have a discussion with all of them.
given the fact that we don't have but 3 commissioners here, I'm going to second your motion, Jeff, and we'll move forward to voting. Now, let me ask this, just out of curiosity. We've got 5 voting members in this, only 2 voted yes. So,
I am not aware of anything conditional use permit wise that requires it to be a majority of the whole board. I think it's just a majority of those present.
okay, okay. All right, so that item, given that, is approved. Thank you, guys.
Very much.
Next item on the agenda is item G, is the discussion of possible recommendation from planning and zoning to grant conditional use permit for exemption on a metal building, ordinance 10-7-3 for Marco, I'm gonna butcher this, Sharquano?
Reagan didn't tell you how to say it?
Wow, she did.
Come on. I'll get on for it. Yes, Marco Sharquano. I live there on 1018 Robin Lane against Meeker Edition. Here to see about getting the our mill building. I brought my contractor with me. If you guys require pictures of how this building's going to be, very well done. Got some here.
Well, we are basically in the same situation. All the neighbors, we spoke a few times with Linda, talking about what doesn't meet the requirement of the 40% of another materials. So this is the idea. What we have, it is basically a wainscoting. It is metal, I know, but it has a transition trim. And it's gonna have basically 4 feet of wainscot, and obviously with another color different than the rest of the wall.
Marco, if I remember right, all those lots out there are pretty large.
Yes, there's about an acre almost.
Almost an acre.
Yeah.
So it's not a typical residential lot of 8,000 square feet.
And this was annexed into the city
Here is
years
your
ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
The lot
So
next
it-
to them to the west has 3 metal buildings on it. I know that quite well.
Yeah.
Trying to cover that one up, especially when they come and take care of the dogs. But
All right, any questions, comments?
Nope.
We have a motion.
Motion to approve. Item G.
I will second that. So that motion carries as well. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Item H is the discussion possible action to approve resolution 2025-005 for 457 deferred compensation plan.
If you remember, we brought this to you back in May when the fire contract was approved. We have met with the 457 plan designers. As I reiterated to you at the time, there's no cost to the city. We just need to pass this resolution. This will go into effect on September 1. He has already been out and met with all the department heads and is going to plan on, our particular representatives out of Yukon, he's going to come out and meet with individual departments and explain to the employees the benefit for this. The city puts no money in it. There's no cost to us. It's just a quality of life or a benefit that will help employees towards their retirement. So I'd recommend approval.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item H.
Second. Do we have a second? Any questions, comments? So that item carries as well. It's approved. Item I is the discussion and possible action to approve the proposed pavement rehabilitation contract for Will Rogers from 13th Street to 81 from Team Design Engineering Firm. And this is really not, this is a design contract,
That's
not
correct.
the construction. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
Steve, you want to come up? Steve Manick is the principal engineer that I've been working with, and he helped come out and do an evaluation of our streets. This is probably the busiest street from a traffic standpoint, and it is definitely in need of some rehabilitation.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Steve Manick, Team Design, Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Thomas. Again, we did a pavement condition survey for the city. I believe this was the #1 project on the list based on location, traffic, condition of the road. It has a tremendous amount of transverse cracks, which are starting to widen. A lot of longitudinal cracks, a lot of block cracking. Some of the curb and gutter has settled, so you've got some little bird baths there in the rain. So it's just a lot of things going on that street that needs to be rehabilitated. So our anticipated project would be a mill and overlay. However, what we have in our contract is we're going to bring our testing lab up. We want to test the cracks. We want to see how deep those cracks go. So if those cracks go, well, back up. I don't have any as-built plans on that road, so I don't know if it's a 2-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch. I don't know if it was an old 2-lane road that was widened to 4 lanes, south, north, one way or the other. It could have 2 inches of asphalt or 8 inches of asphalt. So all those have a bearing on what we put back in to make sure the pavement lasts. So first thing we'll do is get our testing lab up to take cores in each one of the lanes in each direction. We've got traffic control associated with that as well. Then with those cores, we'll be able to tell what pavement technique or repair technique we want to do, and then we can start putting together the plans on that. So we'll survey the whole thing so we can find those bird baths, and again, there's some curb and gutter that's failed. We need to make sure and get those back to grade. It's pretty flat street in some areas, so we need to make sure and get it right so that we don't have more bird baths. Water standing on a street with cracks, that water's seeping to the subgrade's failing, pavement's going to fail. We don't want that to happen. We want to design a good road that's going to last a long time.
Steve has also coordinated with our sewer guys.
Yeah.
We'll camera those sewers. If we need to make any repairs, we're going to do it before we overlay the street.
Sewer,
stormwater.
Sanitary or
I've talked to both. I'm aware of what the pipes are under the road now from Jeremiah. I've talked to Mr. Lumpkins. I need to have another conversation with him as I drove that before I came here today. But pretty much have a good idea as to what's under there. Talked to the electric department. They thought it was going to be a full road construction, and they were excited because they wanted to trench a new conduit across there. And I said, no, we're not taking out the whole road. And if you trench across, that's going to be a permanent dip for forever. So he said he'd probably just have to board that in the future. So unless for some reason, again, we come back and find something crazy out there. But trying to coordinate with all the utilities to make sure that we know what's out there, if something else needs to be done, so that we're not tearing up any road.
This is definitely a busy 1 mile stretch, and the more I've thought about it, you know, the public, when they see that we're spending money to make improvements, I think they're supportive of other projects that are going to come down the lane. And as the mayor and I discussed, I watched them open up Starlight, and there was no aggregate. There was zero. And so I'm like Steve, I'm going to be curious to see what the cores bring up.
Will Rogers was just like 13. I remember when it was a 2-lane chip and seal, more or less, just a road.
Yeah.
And as the building moved further that direction, that's when they decided they moved the boundaries, the curbs on 13th and widened it out. They did the same thing on Will Rogers. What you're going to find, I don't know, but I can remember when it was 2-lane.
Oh, yeah.
So originally, yes, it was 2-lane, and I was glad to see it go to 4-lane because it relieved. I live on Fay, I have for 50-something years, and it relieved a whole bunch of traffic. They tore my street up, but it relieved a lot of traffic on my street.
They're whether they're back or not, they're going to do that, but it'll be curious to see what you find there as to.
You could have a difference on what the repair technique is.
For sure.
Again, listening, again, that's kind of typical to widen out, so we just hope that that old 2-lane had a pretty good thickness on it, so that we can reuse portions of it, but we'll find out for sure. Again, we're going to core each lane, one at the east end, one at the west end, and make sure we've got.
And that's not a mile, that's about 2,700 feet or
right,
something
half
like
mile.
it, right?
Is it only half
Yeah, sometimes I have to correct the city manager. Often, but anyway, do we have a motion, or do you have any other questions?
I have one other question.
Okay.
No, go ahead. My only question is the sidewalk that's getting put in on the south side, does this need to coordinate with that at all? 'Cause that's already been approved.
So from our standpoint, we're going from back of curb in, so we shouldn't be touching anything outside. Mr. Thomas had mentioned that, so whoever that design engineer is or contractor will be back behind the curb, making sure everything's ADA compliant. We shouldn't be touching any of that.
Okay.
And really, what you anticipate is really just some patching of curb and gutter.
Yes.
You're not gonna be removing that where we would have to,
Redesign that.
yeah.
There, again, there's kind of near the library, there's a bunch of, and there's an alley near, there's a bunch of gravel where the water comes and sets, and then more towards the west end on the north side, there's some sanitary sewer and some things over there where it's kind of sunk in 3 or 4 inches and it holds water. So those are the areas where we'll have to reconstruct the grade so that we've got positive grade, get the water flow in the inlets.
So what we're approving today is, again, just to clarify, is just the design fees and the geotech investigations, the striping and the traffic control, just basically to get us to a position to where what we know what we're going to be dealing with if we make the decision to have a plan to move forward to reconstruct, or not reconstruct, but resurface the road itself.
Whatever they come up with will determine, I mean, they'll provide us a plan specifications and an estimate, what they call PS&E, and then get to a point where we could advertise that based upon their recommendations.
Does their recommendations, with their recommendations and spending the $57,623, I'm assuming it would help us to be able to go out and maybe try to find grants or try to find some additional funding or something for this in the future. I like knowing what will have to be done for the project.
I don't know what grants are going to be available for us. I mean, SRB looked at our income and we just don't fall in a category that allows us to do that. I mean, the nice thing is he'll be able to tell us, this is a pretty good engineer's estimate of what it's gonna cost to do that half a mile, now that I've been corrected.
It's more than,
But I will tell you, I mean, if you did pursue grants based upon what they provide, it would take quite a little bit of time. There is some drilling fund, and that's what we used. I mean, that was an ODOT, which didn't, you know, the ODOT drilling fund, or Oklahoma drilling fund.
Right.
It's managed through ODOT. That's what we used on Starlight
Right.
and 13th.
Right.
That's a competitive process, obviously, and it takes some time. There are some things out there, but it would delay it quite some time. And, you know, the longer you let it go, the worse it's gonna get. And I really think, given what we're looking at from a CIP, the capital improvement plan, we have some of that in some of our budget as we move forward. And as they stated, Kyle, I mean, that is the most used arterial road in the city of Kingfisher. And obviously, we took care of it from 13th West, and with all the traffic to the school and everything, I think it's.
So this is a part of the, this is a part of the overall project.
Yes.
I mean, this is not, I mean, so the decision, we're making a decision that we're going to move forward, you know, once we get all the information available to us based off of this contract to fix Will Rogers between 81 and 13.
That's correct.
And this is part of that overall project cost to be able to do that.
Yep.
Okay, all right, just wanted to clarify that.
And I can tell you, as part of that cost as well, we have in there to provide construction inspection to make sure that it is built correctly.
Oh, okay.
As well as,
Okay.
again, after it goes to bid, do the construction administration, process the pay claims to the city, all those kind of things, so that, again, it's kind of a turnkey project for you. If again, once we get you the plans and specs, put it out to bid, get a bid that's great, you move forward to it, we're gonna take care of everything for you.
was there a timeline for this design and the investigation?
So, as fast as humanly possible. So what we'd like to do again is if you approve it tonight, kind of one of the slowest parts is surveying for us, getting that done. Surveyors are incredibly busy right now. So I would anticipate it might take from 4 to 8 weeks to get my survey back. But we'll already have we'll have our geotech company come up, ASAP. I think I need to give them a week. They'll start doing the coring so that we know what the pavement's made out of while we're waiting on the survey. Then that helps us with our repair techniques on what we may be proposing to put back out there once we can put the final plans together. So I'd like to be back to you within, I'd like to say within 3 to 4 months with the full set of plans and specifications, if not earlier. Again, once we get the survey, if there's something weird that we see on the survey, we just want to make sure, again, coordinating with your city staff to make sure that something isn't buried 8 inches underground that's supposed to be 3 feet like a water line or something like that. So there's just some questions that we'll work back and forth with city staff on to make sure that there's no surprises once it goes to construction.
Oh, it's Kingfisher, there'll be surprises. I guarantee that.
Understand. Any other questions, comments?
Thank you for being here and explaining everything.
Again, thank you for having us.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed pavement rehabilitation contract with TEIN Design Engineering Firm.
Second.
Okay. Okay, that motion carries. Get to work, Mr. Minnick.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Next item on the agenda is the financial report by Ms. Anita.
Made it through the year with a gain, and when you consider we actually, our budget was a loss because we had a huge expense that rolled over from last year into this year, or into the previous year into last year. So actually, it not only absorbed that expense, we still had a gain of $138,000 on top. We do show a loss for June because a lot of stuff was approved at the last minute and we were able to get checks out because there was room in their budgets to cover it. So the $148,000 loss for June, but we're still, like I said, with a gain of $138,000 for the year on city side. We did get the sales tax in, and it was up a little from last month. I haven't got the results on it. This is the one that just came in last week. On it, there's any credits in it, but we did have a gain from last month. It was slightly under last year's amount. But I believe last year's amount had an overpayment that against it, so it didn't look terrible. That was on city side. And actually, if you include the overpayment or the credits that we had on sales tax, we were within $69,000 of hitting budget on sales tax. If we would not have had to give sales tax money back where people had overpaid previous years, we would have been within $69,000 of what we estimated. Public Works, we ended the year with a loss, so it looks, but actually $550,000 was transferred from Public Works into KPWA Capital Improvement Fund for future capital spending. We still, for the year, had a $337,000 gain. And so then you go to the cash page and you see that unencumbered balances are at 11.2. And you can also visibly see on KPWA Capital Improvement Fund, we now have over $1 million in that fund.
But we're getting ready to spend a quarter.
Any questions, comments from Miss Anita?
The overpayments, are they, how much more is that? Do you know?
On the sales tax?
Yeah.
For last year's receipts, it was $141,000.
But those have all been accounted for and paid?
Which they had paid them in years previous to June of '24, but then they clawed them back. You file the reports when you overpay, because it always tells you what tax year the credit was attributed to. And so they clawed them back throughout the year. And it happens a lot. Companies realize, oh, well, I just meant Kingfisher County. I didn't mean City of Kingfisher. And a lot of it's oil companies, because they just punch our zip code in and so it lands here.
2021, 2022 was where the overpayments were.
A lot of it was, yeah, it was from 21 and 22.
A certain time limit they have allowed to get that back?
I mean,
That's a tax commission question.
Yeah, and it's a lot longer than you would think.
Wow.
You would think that, man, that's got to be like a year or something, and it's several. I mean, 5, 10, maybe even. It's a long period for what you would think.
It happens a lot after you have a big boom. You kind of, I'll get up here sometimes when we have a really huge sales tax, and I'll say, and I hope we don't have to give any of this back.
Okay, any other questions? Next item on the, thank you, Anita. Next item on the agenda is city manager's report.
I think if you read my hot topics report that I sent out on Friday, it explained a lot of the issues that we're dealing with right now. I know there's a lot of talk around the community about United pulling out. As I shared with you, we were just one of 4 communities in Oklahoma. It was a business decision by United. We have not let the grass grow underneath us. I have been in contact with potential developers that have an interest in Kingfisher. And I've got a local resident here in the community that has some connections with another grocery store. We made a contact, last week, and we may be making a visit later in the week. So Kingfisher has gone through, as Anita has shared with me, in her 30 years, they've come and gone, and so it's not a catastrophic deal. I think it's gonna be absorbed by Brahms and Walmart and the other smaller grocery outlets, but we're gonna still go out and try to recruit someone to come in. I looked at the amount of sales tax they generate every month, and it will be absorbed very easily. It's not gonna be a substantial hit on our account, so. Take a look at my report. I don't know if any of you have any questions, those of you that did read it. I know, Kyle, you were traveling. But I try to keep you abreast as to activities that are going on. The City Cafe is still for sale. They have lowered their price, which I think is more reasonable. I was talking with the chamber president the other day, and she had someone that's interested in that building and bringing another downtown eating establishment, and I think that may, now that the price is more reasonable, more acceptable, I think it's going to help modify that. I don't know if you have any questions, Mayor. I know you read my report.
Any questions for Jim in regards to anything? Welcome, Commissioner Taylor. If not, do we have a motion for adjournment?
Yes. Yes.
Motion for adjournment.
Second. Have a motion and a second. That motion carries. We are adjourned. We'll reconvene as the Kingfisher Public Works Authority. The first item on the agenda is the consent docket, item 2. Do we have a motion?
Okay, motion to approve consent docket.
Second. A motion and a second. Any comments, questions, or anything? If not? That item carries. We'll go on to scheduled business, and the first item on the agenda is item A, discussion of possible action to purchase electric and water meters from Nighthawk at the cost of $249,709.
This is phase 2 of something we started last year. We spent about the same amount. I was hoping to just do all this, this fiscal year, but we decided to break it up again because of the capital improvement plan that's going to need to be adopted soon. But this is phase 2 of this. Mark and Jeremiah have been working together to get this project moving right now. We are operating 2 simultaneous meter reading programs. AMI systems, I guess is the best way to describe it. And so this has been budgeted, and we recommend approval.
Is all of phase 1 complete?
Pretty much, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, we're really close to having all of it done, phase 1. We don't lack a lot. I'm probably gonna have some of my guys fall back and help Jeremiah finish up what he has, so we can continue to move forward.
And the lead time on this, we won't even get these materials for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be at least that.
Yeah.
At the end of phase 2, what is the overall completion rate?
50%.
And what is so is each phase $250,000?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we've budgeted
this $250,000
for the, so
this is budgeted.
How long will it take to complete phase 2?
Probably 3 or 4 months once we get the materials in-house.
And so we will probably Is the plan to complete phase 3 and phase 4 in the same fiscal, this same?
No.
No, so
No.
we do phase 2 this year, do phase 3 next year?
Yeah.
So there's a 3-year, so it's $250,000 per year for the next 3 years?
Yeah, yeah. When I saw the capital improvement needs that need to be in water and sewer and the streets, I just said, we can't do it all. I mean, even though in my memo I shared with you, we adjusted people's utility rates 2.4%, it'll generate $225,000 in new revenue. We just can't do the whole thing. I mean, we're gonna spread it out over 4 years.
But we have an opportunity at next budget to discuss bringing that in.
Yeah,
that's
true. But right now we
Yeah.
don't.
And in this fiscal year's budget, did we budget for this $250,000 or did
Yes.
we budget for
No, we did.
$750,000?
No, we budgeted for 250,000.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, I'm curious too, how are you attacking this? Are you doing half electric, half water?
Yeah, it's been pretty even across the board. This time, we went a little heavy on leaf meters, residential meters. We went a little heavy because Jeremiah's still carrying a little inventory. So,
And we're not done with our meter reader gentleman until this whole thing's finished, right?
right. Yeah, he's still,
His workload just gets less and less, but his pay is the same.
Yep. I know.
So as it stands now, though, these Nighthawk meters are doing
Yes,
just
sir.
exactly like you expected.
Yes.
And I think we talked about originally that it was gonna cost us $1 million to get these all converted,
Yeah.
over the course of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how many current residents do we completed?
I would say quarter. I mean, if you look at the way we're doing the budget, I mean, we're doing a quarter of the water and a quarter of the electric, and we're doing that. We're splitting that up between the water and the electric. I mean,
I
like,
think total residential, Kyle, we have 1,900 rooftops, and there's probably another 500 downtown
Yeah,
businesses and commercial. So at 2,400 divided by, 25%, you're probably,
Yeah. So at the end of this one, this will get us to 50% of the households in the community residential communities
Yeah.
will have both water and electric meters
yeah.
that
yes.
we'll have access to remotely and all that good stuff.
yeah.
So do they already have access to the system, or does the system go live when everybody's done?
I understand that as soon as we get ready, Nighthawk can give us that portal, so our residents can see that.
But right now, my question was like, so are we gonna wait though till everything's done, and then everybody basically has access at the same time?
I would think that would be smart.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause
You don't want to have people saying, how come my neighbor's got a portal and I
Right,
don't?
right.
Are they
Well, if
special?
you pay extra $100, you can have it.
There you go, Jeff.
Hey, pay for your meters.
Yeah.
So anyway, we recommend we appropriate this money for the current fiscal year.
I'll make a motion to, or if you're okay.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the electric and water meters from Nighthawk at the cost of $249,709.
Second? You're in, aren't you?
She is in.
She's
Okay.
in.
I was just waiting to see what you were gonna do though. Figured y'all was so used to bouncing off of each other.
You can have the next one. Get to your adjourn.
Yeah.
The item is approved. The next item is a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
I came just to leave.
We've got another meeting.
Yeah.
Got more work to do.
We are adjourned. We'll reconvene as the Kingfisher Recreational Authority. First item on the agenda is the consent docket. Do we have a motion? Any-
Well, I know that there's still probably 20 that doesn't have
Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to
So I
approve
was like, I
consent
didn't want to
docket.
jump.
Yeah, got a motion?
Second.
So usually, you know, you do the discussion or anything after the motion and second. I've tried to convert to that, but y'all haven't followed, because Brittany jumps the gun on my deal there. So I guess there is no discussion in regards to that or questions, okay. Isn't that correct, Jerry?
Discussion is after?
After the motion second, yeah.
You don't have discussion until the motion's on the floor.
Yeah.
I have been chastised.
Any debate?
Because you could have a motion to table,
Yeah.
Okay.
which would supersede the motion.
Did that go?
Oh, we're getting deep.
Okay. Okay, no scheduled business under the Kingfisher Recreational Authority, so do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion for adjournment.
I second it.
Brittany,
Just so
your
y'all know I
magic
was
here.
here.
She's done this before.
So we are adjourned. We'll reconvene as the Kingfisher Special Projects, Special Meeting Authority. The first item on the agenda is the consent docket, so do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve consent docket.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
Will there be debate?
Actually,
Any
not on the
comments?
consent docket.
What's that?
Yeah,
Not on the consent
You can't do
docket.
that? Okay. All right, I couldn't remember. Okay, that motion carries. We'll go under scheduled business. Item A is a consideration, discussion, possible action upon resolution number KPSA 2025-001, approving and renewing the sublease agreement dated February 1st, 2020, by and between the Kingfisher Special Projects Authority and the Board of Education of Independent School District Number 7 of Kingfisher County, Oklahoma. Do we have a motion?
What is this?
Tied to the bond issue that was done for the school, for the junior high. This is exactly what special projects was set up for, was to help support things like this. So this is just one of the steps to keep all of that going, so we can have a nice new junior high.
Yeah, okay, now that makes sense.
Make a motion to approve item A.
Have a motion?
I second it.
Have a second? Now, is there
Now
any
we discussion?
discussion?
Look at
Comments,
us.
questions? Will there be debate?
Look at us.
If not, we've got to get a little debate in here.
So what happens when there's a discussion? We just don't put A?
Well, you can check, yeah, I mean,
She generally wouldn't press her thing to send it to
Oh,
you
if we're-
until
I
it's
can
ready.
retract it.
Right, I got you.
so that motion carries. Next item on the agenda is item 4, a motion, we have a motion for adjournment.
Motion for adjournment.
Second it.
Have a second?
Good to see you.
So from now on, the motion,
You have a motion and a second, and then you have discussion.
the
Yeah,
discussion can change the motion.
well, that's the deal. So, I mean, you can change the motion. I
We
mean,
go backwards.
so you would vote it against it and change the motion, right?
Or you can have somebody rescind the motion and
So where did this whole thing, because this is
So
what I
Robert's
understood
Rule of
about-
Order, but
I mean, I don't-
we haven't followed that.
you've got some local preference on a lot of Robert's rules,
Yeah.
especially for a small board. If we were in a big board or the legislature, motion second, then we're gonna start talking about it.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that'll change the game.
Hopefully make that discussion shorter.
Good luck with that.
So we're
Thank
done.
y'all for coming.
Yeah, we're.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we're done.